Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds podcast. I'm your co-host, Puma Gato, the cat that hands your admission back. And to my left over here is the main man, Houston, and the man that makes the fat stacks. Together we form the dynamic duo that won't die. Deadly ideas, brother, and spice your content than your girls' only fans. What is going on, everybody? Before we get into tonight's topic, please make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and with that, let's get right into it. So we have a number of different people, security guards, a few celebs, coming out basically saying, hey man, I don't really know if the Freakoffs were all that bad, or I don't know what was going on. There was nothing wrong going on. Let me explain. So one of the people that's come out, I don't want to say necessarily defending Diddy, but kind of making excuses for him. Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, he basically has stated, listen, man, the music industry made Diddy a monster. It wasn't that Diddy was born that way. Diddy became this person because essentially other people did it to Diddy, so Diddy did it to them. Now, here's my thing with that type of comment. Is like, listen, big dog, at one point or another in life, we all may get tempted with an insane amount of money, with various temptations from women, from drug dealers, from so on and so forth. And it is upon you to make the decision, is this what I want to do? You can't make excuses and say it was forced on you and blah, 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 blah. Unlike Diddy forced himself on other people. So listen, I don't give a shit whether it was forced on him or not. He had a decision in the matter because Diddy is a grown-ass man. He chose at one point to become the monster, as you stated, Gene Deal. And that's the problem with a lot of people that have been coming out basically, again, not necessarily defending, just saying, hey, I didn't see anything weird happen. You know, I can't remember. One of the Wayans brothers came out very recently and basically said, look, man, I was at the Freakoffs, but I didn't see anything weird. I didn't see anything funky going on. It seemed like, just consenting adults all doing something normal. There's been a couple other people that have basically said, look, man, I went to the Freakoffs, but I left the party early. And it's like, listen, I personally feel like you guys are all telling on yourselves. Because here's the thing. If I go to a party where I know that there's going to be a lot of drugs, and then I say to the officers that eventually come and bust at the party, hey, man, I was at this party. Yes, there's a bunch of drugs all over the place, but I didn't see anything weird. I didn't know something was going on. And here's the thing. For Diddy to pull off the things that Diddy was pulling off, this man had to have a lot of accomplices, a lot of friends helping him, maybe a security guard, assistants, so on and so forth. So for people to say, oh, I went to the Freakoffs, but I didn't see anything weird, or to say, oh, I went to the Freakoffs, but I left early, or even to make the excuse for Diddy to say, oh, you know what, yes, Diddy did those things, but he's not a monster. He was forced into becoming a monster because other people did it to him. It's an insane thing to say. Again, listen, I have no problem if his friends, his family, sisters, brothers, sons, daughters, whatever, want to stand up for him. It's kind of part of your job, even if you think that the man's a monster. If you're a son, as he has a son, for his son to stand up for him. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand why his son would stand up for him. That being said, to make all these excuses and all these lame attempts at trying to bring down what was said is kind of a weird thing to me. All the things that supposedly happened, which have multiple people basically corroborating the story, it's a weird thing to me. What do you think about that, my man?
Listen, man, I've actually been thinking about this today when you brought up the topic to me. And look, there's only two reasons that I think all these people that are coming about that went to these parties and downplaying the entire situation. There's only two rationales for why somebody would do that. One, they were complicit in it, and they were looking to downplay the situation and make it seem like, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. I mean, there was nobody trafficked in there, at least none to my knowledge. I didn't know that anybody was supposed to be there illegally. Or two, and I feel like this is part of the worst one. It seems like to me, because it seemed like this Diddy's bodyguard was obviously in it, for the money. He wasn't participating in it, but he was at least complicit in making sure that everything was. He's accused of it too. Oh, he's accused of being there. Okay, whatever. At the very least, the people that were complicit in organizing it, in supplying all this, I think the only thing that would have kept them from not being able to say anything is it's kind of like those dudes that are on YouTube that are trying to be like predator hunters, and they caught like EDP 445, and they did their own vigilante thing. More so that they saw it, but they didn't have hard evidence, meaning that they couldn't go to the authorities for it. Meaning that even if they did say it, the best that they would have gotten is being blacklisted by all the people that were complicit in these parties. Meaning that even if the officers had listened to them, that nothing would come of it, and they would basically be out of a job for it. My rationale in that is, I think that's a little bit worse, because from the language that the DA that was presiding over the whole Diddy scandal, it seemed like, unfortunately, all the people that basically gave information on what was going on at these parties were unfortunately victims themselves, meaning that they basically had nothing to lose at that point. Which, again, it's sad, but like the fact that people were complicit in it and didn't say anything, I feel like that makes it worse, even if they didn't have evidence to fully back it up. Even just saying something, like an alert to the police would have been saying something. Even if you didn't have evidence, you could have said something from the get. Even if you were being paid off and the danger of losing that job, losing a paycheck, any of that was being put under scrutiny because you decided to say something. I feel like that rationale was worse, because I feel like anytime that Diddy hands you a check, at least if I was in that position, I'm not. But if I was in that position, I feel like part of me would not only be getting a paycheck, but I'll also be giving him a part of my soul at that case. If I knew all this was happening and I did absolutely nothing, and now the police are starting to come in on everybody, and they found out that I knew it and didn't do anything, of course I'd be trying to downplay it. It's horrible. Like, again, that's why I'm like, an optimistic part of me wants to say that they knew about it, but they knew they couldn't say or do anything because nobody was willing to listen to them. But at the same time, I feel like that's worse because they had full knowledge of the event.
You're giving people too much credit, bro. It was greed. It's greed. That's all it is. We don't need to make excuses for it. We don't need to. Why are you trying to give these people that did all this fucked up shit any sort of mate, I'm trying to understand. No, fuck these dudes. Fuck these people. Listen. If it was one or two people saying this about Diddy, maybe you got to be a little careful because, again, he's rich, he's famous, they want to get some paper off him. I get that. If you have the network that he has of all the people being accused of this stuff, let's be honest. They did it for the money. Everybody does this type of thing because they think they can get away with it. They pay off like they did with the security guard tapes and the Cassie tapes in that hotel. Everyone gets paid off and everyone keeps getting away with it. So I'm not going to sit here and try and make excuses for the behavior that they did. Listen, one of the funnier things that I saw just over the last couple of days was Diddy's attorney, which, to be fair, I don't think he's involved in this other than defending Diddy, making an excuse for Diddy's 1,000 bottles of lotion. Essentially saying, listen, the man, there's a Costco right down the street from him. He buys in bulk. What the hell kind of excuse is that? And that's what I'm talking about right there. Is the constant excuse making from all these people that, let's keep it a buck here, have either been taking pictures, showing them at these freak-offs, have been on video according, because there's a lot of video according to what was put in the indictment. There is a lot of people that are more than likely going to go down because of this. And I'm all for it because, listen, for you to go to a party, specifically able to freak off and say, I didn't see anything weird. Or to say, yeah, but you know what? I left the party early. Or to say, listen, the reason there is 1,000 bottles of lotion is because the man buys in bulk. There's a Costco right down the street from his house. Who doesn't buy in bulk? Listen, big dog, I'll fully be willing to admit, I buy some stuff in bulk. Some of my stuff came in from Amazon. I buy some stuff in bulk. I don't have 1,000 of anything in bulk. Chips, energy drinks, cologne, Monsters, clothes, shirts. I don't have anything of 1,000 in bulk. And listen, the fact that people think that these lame ass excuses, the I didn't see anything weird, the I left early, the industry made him a monster. He's not this way. It's just he was catering to the industry. It's a load of BS to me. We'll definitely see how it goes. We'll definitely see what's going to happen. But at this point, the one thing I will say to stand up for Diddy is put cameras on the man at all times, because if they try to pull what they pulled with Epstein on, I'm not gonna lie, as a society, we should all throw a fit. We should all march. We should all do something, because it's some BS at this point that they keep getting away with. Clearly, individuals like Diddy covering for much more famous people, much more empowered people, and then all of a sudden they just unalive themselves. I didn't buy it with Epstein. I won't buy it here. Anything else you want to add to that, my man?
Point that I was trying to make with all those people saying like, oh, the industry made him a monster, blah, 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 was the same thing I was trying to do, but I was trying to do it from a different perspective. Meaning, let's say that really was the excuse that the industry made him a monster, that he was done this as a child by his father, his mother, his sister, his grandparents, his babysitter, whatever. Is that, if anything, that actually makes it worse because you were trying to instill that same kind of pain. Like, let's say that was his trauma, right? That was his trauma. I was like, oh, you don't understand me. The industry made me a monster and blah, 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 blah. I had this instilled in me. I was like, dog, but you're doing the same thing. If you're calling all those people into scrutiny, right? That you're saying they did this damage to you, cool. At the end of the day, why are you also instilling all this damage onto yourself? I wasn't trying to defend any of their actions. No, they can all go to jail. Every single one that was implicit, that was complicit in everything. Make it worse. Make it worse because if they fully knew of what was going on at these parties and they were completely fine with collecting a check, if they truly didn't know, you can plead ignorance, but you were still implicit in it. If you knew about it, that makes it worse. That means you knew what was going on and you didn't care, which means we need to throw the book on you. That's the point that I was trying to get across. Not that I was trying to excuse any of their actions whatsoever. No. The fact that you knew, that makes it worse. The fact that you knew that all this was happening, all this harm, and had all this harm instilled to you in the past, cool, but you're doing that now.
Listen, man, you got trauma, go to fucking therapy. You have all the money in the world. You have all the resources in the world. You can get the best paid therapist. You got trauma, go to therapy. Don't push that BS on somebody else. And with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.